How's everybody doing? Before we start this lesson, please use those links up above. We're going to do those for two of those activities in this lesson, okay? Also, please remember to also do your summaries, 2 sentences or more, right? Has to be detailed sentences or you get 0 points, maybe half a point too, depending on how nice I am. But let's get to it. Today we're going to learn about drawing triangles part 2. And we're going to keep on drawing those triangles and to get a sense of what builds a triangle and to eventually see what matches together, right? So in this goal, you should be able to draw different triangles with these measurements and show that these measurements determine one unique triangle or no triangle. Remember, unique triangle usually means like there's one and only one triangle with the situation, okay? All right, so go ahead and get this activity out. This should be this link right here that looks something like this, okay? We're gonna take that out and then we're gonna see, according to this, how many different triangles we can draw with the set conditions. So this condition we want is one triangle that has an angle measure of 40 degrees, 4 centimeters long, and one side measure of 5 centimeters long, okay? I'm gonna pause this video. Again, I want you to go to this link and do this activity, okay? Go ahead and do that right now. All right, coming back. So looking at the applet, looks like you can only move the blue, green, and yellow part of this. Everything else I can't move, but I can see that I have one triangle here. If I was to change this up again, so again, it has to be 5 centimeters and 4 centimeters long, okay? I can see that I have a second triangle here. Whoops. Right, you have a second triangle here. It looks like those two sides kind of change the shape of it. But the idea is you should be able to get at least 4 different types of triangles, okay? That looks something like this. So the next situation, so now I want you to make 2 sides that have a measure of 6 centimeters long. So 2 of the sides is 6 centimeters long, and one of the angle measures is 100 degrees long, okay? Or 100 angle. One angle is measured 100 degrees. Okay, go ahead and do that right now. Pause it. Okay, if you didn't pause, I'm just going to keep on going. So now I want both of my sides to equal 6 centimeters long, and then I'm going to change that degrees into 100 degrees, okay? So it looks like that is going to be my triangle. If I also look at and see if there's any other situations going on, we would know that this is the only triangle that you can make with these given conditions, right? With these given conditions over here. Again, it goes back to yesterday's lesson or part 1 where I said that if you have two sides or 2 angles and one restriction, or you have restrictions of 2 sides and 1 angle or 2 angles and 1 side, then that creates one unique triangle, okay? So now we're going to look at using 3 angles. So now we're going to use this second website. Go ahead and pause and go to the second website where it says 3 angles, okay? We're going to use that. So the first question I have for you is, I want you to draw as many different triangles as you can with each of these sets of measurements. Let's go ahead and do this first one over here. I want to make a triangle that only has 50 degrees, 60 degrees, and 70 degrees, okay? I want to see how many triangles I can make out of that. So again, it's 50 degrees, 60 degrees, and I'm also using a second screen here, and 70 degrees. So what we want to do, I want you to do, is to take these angles and try to put them together, okay? So for example, I'm doing one right here. Let's see. So the purple one extends and the blue is the one you use to turn. So I can easily make something like this. All right. And I also want to take this other one, turn that. I also want to make another triangle with that, okay? So this is going to be a rough sketch, but this is the idea. I want to see how many other triangles you can make. I just made one right over here. And go ahead and use this to turn. You could extend these and all that, okay? All right, back to it. So I made 2 triangles using these 3 measurements and moving it around. Those are only 2 triangles you can make out of it. Go ahead and try to do this bottom one right over here and see if you can make a triangle with one measurement of 50, 60, and 100, okay? So if you haven't paused, you should pause right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and see if we can make this. So if I had 50, 60, 100, okay, so there's 50, 60, I'm gonna make this 100. If I was to put this together, let me see if I can take this out. Right, if I was to put this together and try to make some kind of triangle with it, well, there's that. So I can already see that if I was trying to put these together, there's no way I can make that work, okay? Well, what happens if I go a little bit lower with my degrees? That's why I'm going to go maybe, let's see if I go to 90 degrees, right? If I do 90 degrees, I still can't quite make that triangle, but you can see here that if I do something less than 90 degrees, maybe even a lot more closer that will connect to that 60 degrees, then I can make my triangle, okay? So it looks like if I put it through here, I can definitely make a triangle about 70 degrees, all right? There's some details you should notice about this, but we won't get there yet, okay? So with this one, we can say this is not possible. Alrighty. So I'm gonna do, so this next question says that either these set of measurements determine one unique triangle, and how do you know? So that any of these two sets that we just did, that determine any unique triangles. Remember, when we have a unique triangle, it means that we have one triangle only. Looking at the first scenario, we got 2 triangles, and this bottom scenario right over here, looks like we got not possible, okay? Goes back to what we were saying before, where if we had 2 angles and 1 side, then we can make a unique triangle, or 2 sides and 1 angle, we can also make a unique triangle, okay? So some questions: were there any sets of measurements that produce a unique triangle? We said no. Which combination of angles could not be drawn? Well, we kind of saw that already. Anything seemed like anything above that 70 degrees, we couldn't really make a triangle with, right? If we try to put all these 3 numbers together. But we saw that for sure 50, 60, 100 didn't make a triangle at all, okay? So why is there more than one triangle that can be made with the measurement in this first problem? Looking at my bottom, it says because there are no side lengths measured, so we can create scale copies of the triangle. We just didn't know there's any side lengths. So we need to know some lengths in order to help us build a triangle, okay? Some other questions I want you to know. So if I asked you, how is a compass useful in drawing triangles today? Well, we don't have a compass with us, but it does help you find the points at a certain distance away. Another part is what strategy you use to include 2 side lengths in a given angle. One strategy is to draw a side length, and then you use a compass or protractor. Again, I won't be using it. Sorry, quarantine life is too hard to use that. But yeah, so what strategy you use to include 3 given angles? Again, protractor, ruler, but we use our little applet, right? And we have the angles put together. Okay, so today, this lesson, you were able to draw different triangle measurements with these measurements. And then you're able to show these measurements, determine one unique triangle or no triangle. Remember, we saw that what makes a unique triangle is 2 angles, 1 side, right? Or 2 sides, 1 angle, I think it was. So go ahead and close this video out. You got not a learning activity, but or not a cool down, but we got a learning activity 7.10. Anyways, we'll see ya. Have a good day.